everyone. Welcome back to Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast. I'm Charles Skaggs, back in the basement of solitude once again, ready to talk some more Twin Peaks with my favorite co-host, everybody's favorite co-host, Zan Sprouse. Hi, Zan.
Thank
How are
you.
you?
Thank you, Charles. How are you doing? And if you are in the basement of solitude, I have
Yes.
a piece of advice for you.
Yes.
You should never, ever overcook souffle.
Never? I don't get the reference.
Oh, did I lose you, Charles?
Yeah, you're a little
What'd you say?
you're a little glitchy. It
You
says
didn't catch that one?
I didn't get the I didn't get I mean I heard I didn't catch the I didn't understand.
Superman. Superman 2.
Souffle.
Yeah, where he takes her to the Fortress of Solitude and then he makes
Oh God,
her
yes.
with his heat vision.
I am so embarrassed by not knowing that.
And he's cooking it. She's like, no, that's enough. You should never, ever overcook souffle.
I should. That's right.
So.
That is a brilliantly obscure quote from Superman 2.
It was on TV the other day, so it is fresh in my mind.
That's fantastic. Yes, you totally got me on that one. Kudos. I'm not worthy. The whole thing.
That just means you went outdoors and had friends in the 80s. So good for you.
No. Actually, I didn't. Actually, I spent that summer away from my family when Superman 2 came out. Yeah, there's a very interesting story that I might have to tell you off podcast one of these days.
Did we finally find secrets that Charles is not going to tell our Twin Peaks fans?
I'm filled with secrets.
You look exactly like my cousin Charles.
We got back to the Twin Peaks stuff because yes,
we do it fast.
We do it fast. Yes. So
it's a quick turnaround.
So yes, here at episode 54, we're going to talk about what I like to call the opening moves of Windom Earle.
The opening moves. Ooh, I like your chess reference there.
You see what I did there?
I see what you did there.
Yeah. So try to come up with try to make it halfway clever at least. So we're going to talk about. Zan was in the mood to talk some Windom Earle, and hey, who doesn't want to talk Windom Earle? So perfectly glad to oblige her. And so I thought what we could do, and I suggested ran this past her, is that we would talk about, well, how about Windom Earle's life before he meets Cooper, then after he meets Cooper, and everything kind of leading up to where we kind of left off in our Josie discussion.
To his arrival in
Twin Peaks, yes, and his lovely poetry for his would-be prospective queens.
Oh my goodness,
that's all kinds of creepy.
It has been brought to my attention recently that there's a lot of teenage creeping going on in Twin Peaks.
Slightly.
I never really thought of all of that because when I was watching Twin Peaks, I was a teenager, so it just seemed like, oh, this is what happens in the world. But now I'm just sort of like, people creep on these teenagers all the time in this town. What is going on?
Yes, they do. And it's one of those things that, and you notice it's mostly older men creeping on younger women, of course. And because you had Leland, you had Bob, of course. You had Windom Earle. You had Mayor Milford, and Dougie. And Lana going after Lana, and everybody kind of oohing and eyeing over Lana.
Sharing a bride,
Cooper and Audrey.
Cooper and Annie.
Right.
Too. Annie's younger, not inappropriately younger.
Yeah.
But she's younger. So
John Justice Wheeler, Jack and Audrey.
Yeah,
Gordon Cole and Shelley, yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about it. It's a trend. Yeah.
I guess maybe as a teenager I thought, well, if Billy Zane and Kyle MacLachlan were coming after me, that'd be totally fine. I never really thought about it from anything but a teenager's point of view. But now
you're a little older and you have a different perspective in life.
Yeah, Charles, as of the 19th of April, I am 43 years old. Can you believe that crap?
Happy birthday, Zan.
Thank you very much.
I know it's belated, but
that's all right.
Yeah, I did. If you saw everybody, I sent Zan a little Twin Peaks birthday card.
Yes, you did
that I
so
came up
much.
with on the Facebooks.
And I did I post my cat photo to
You
our
yes, you did.
yes,
Yeah,
that carpet was my gift from my husband.
yeah. You have a cool new chevron rug
I do.
that I want desperately. I think I've tracked it down on Amazon.
I will make sure Chris sends you the link because he that's where he got it from was Amazon, and
Yeah.
he hid it in our attic. I have no idea how he did that without me not noticing, but apparently I'm obviously oblivious to things if I'm maybe watching TV or something.
Yeah, needless to say,
Chris
as
got me that carpet.
yeah, yeah. Needless to
He got me
say,
that carpet. He got me. Go ahead. No, go ahead. You
no. I was
finish.
just gonna say, needless to say, is gonna go on my 50th birthday list.
That's right. Charles is going to be 50 here in about a month, kids.
Hmm.
So about a month and a half. So set your calendar. So yeah, I got here's what I got for my birthday. My birthday. I got this one right here.
Nice. You got the Wild at Heart on the
The
collector's
shout
edition.
the Shout Select Shout Factory Blu-ray.
Yep.
And then I finally got this, which is the Criterion Mulholland
Oh,
Drive.
see, I want that too.
Yeah.
I need that.
Blue Velvet comes out this month, so I'm very excited.
Yep.
And
I got it on my calendar.
the European
Whoa, Lost
Lost
Highway.
Highway.
Does that play on Region 1 or Region A or whatever it is?
It plays on the Region Free Player that Chris got me for my birthday. Uh-huh. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
because
baby.
it's not available here.
It's not available here, but it's available right here in my house,
Oh,
as is The Elephant Man, which is also European
yep.
DVD and works on our brand new region free Blu-ray player.
Jealousy level rising,
Right?
rising,
Right.
rising. Yes.
Which is great because I have a few other region free or region 2 or
Hmm.
region B. I forget. It's
Yeah.
like region 2 for DVDs, region B for Blu-rays.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I've got Black Books, which we bought in England.
Nice.
I have Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, which is only available in England. And I have Rick Mayall Presents, which my friend Shelley Hessen bought me for my birthday one year.
Excellent.
And in that same wheelhouse, I have Guest House Paradiso, the movie that is the Bottom characters that were Rick Mayall and Ade Edmondson's from their show Bottom, their characters.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Uh,
After the obviously the young ones. Yeah.
yeah, Richard McRichard and Eddie Hitler are their
Right.
names. And Chris found that one of my all-time favorite movies that I cannot find here at all, called Comfort and Joy, is finally on Blu-ray. So I'm going to have to go to Amazon.co.uk and buy that now that I have the region-free Blu-ray player.
Very nice.
So yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, David Lynch related birthday. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was. Obviously, the theme works perfectly.
Yep.
And, well, hey, it's great that you had that and could share that with us here on the podcast.
And just the black and white cat on that black and white
Yes.
carpet is just awesome.
Well, it was such a great photo
Uh-huh.
because Forbes is sitting there and looking right at the camera,
Uh-huh.
which is
Just right.
which is amazing for a cat because if you've tried to take pictures of cats, as I have,
They don't like it. They're
they
not
don't.
into that.
They're not gonna. They're prone to sit there all and pose for you.
Heck no, they're not.
No, you have to be like super fast and catch them in a split second.
Yep.
So, but Furbs is sitting there staring directly at the camera as if like she was cast by David Lynch.
I know, it's perfect.
It was like kind of creepy too to see her on that carpet.
I know, to any other normal person, they're like, "Oh, look, your cat matches their carpet," but to us, we're like, "Damn!" So yeah, I was happy about that. So
That's fantastic.
yeah, I redid. I was able to redo my Pez room. I got new shelves for the Pez room, and I don't think I posted that photo, but I will. Because you can see my awesome chair
Yes.
that is kind of Twin Peaksy,
Yeah,
and now my piece carpet.
you had a great photo there where you're sitting in the chair which is on the corner of the rug
Mm-hmm.
and looked really good. And
Yeah, the cat.
so yeah, like I need that rug for the basement of solitude here.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to post that photo on our page as well. But yeah, the caption I did for that photo is that Pez you like is going to come back in style.
That was great. Yes.
So
Very fitting. Very fitting.
I thought that was pretty funny. So, but yeah, you guys can all see the Pez room and my
Yes.
off
Yes.
carpet.
The legendary
So
Pez room, which I have had the fortune of visiting,
that's right. You have been to the
but
Pez
I've
room.
not visited obviously with the chevron rug. So,
You just need to come over more often, Charles.
well, you're very popular. So I have to like I think I have to make an appointment.
I'm not popular. I'm just stupid busy. That's the problem. It's like I was talking to my friend Nicole, and we're trying to figure out a time to get together. And if I'm not busy, she's busy, and we're like, let's get together like the last weekend of June. And I'm like, we suck as adults. Like this
You're
is just no fun.
you're adulting wrong.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Is adulting, you just don't have freaking time. I mean, when we were kids, Charles, if we were kids, I could just like walk through my backyard through the neighborhood to your house. Probably that's how this would have
Yes.
happened.
Right.
Or I've just ridden my bike to your house. And we would just hung out
Very,
all
very,
day.
very Stranger Things. Yes.
Yeah, very Stranger Things. I would have just ridden my bike to your house. We would watch Twin Peaks. Maybe your mom would have said, "Hey, you want to stay for dinner?" And I would have been like,
My mom would have definitely said that because my mom loved cooking for people
"That,
and it
yeah."
still does. But so yes,
Or she would have said, "Hey,"
as my waistline will attest. Yes.
or she would have said, "Hey, you kids, when you're done with your little TV show, come to the restaurant and you can have pie." And we would have ridden our bikes to
Hmm.
your restaurant.
Yeah.
We would have had pie,
Hmm.
and it would have been awesome. And now I'm like really sad that can't actually happen.
Where were you when I was having my childhood, Zan? What's up with that?
Seriously, I mean, and even if your parents were still running the restaurant, I can't ride my bike to Medina in any sort of timely fashion.
Can I just say how much respect I have for you that you actually remember all that little trivia of my life?
The fact that your parents were in a 24-hour diner is one of the most badass things I
Well,
can
it's not
think
really a
of.
diner. It was a family restaurant, but close.
But it was 24 hours
It
though,
was
right?
24 hours, yeah. 24-hour family restaurant, yes.
I'm of the opinion that a family restaurant between 11 a.m. and 6 a.m. is a diner because I'm eating drunken omelets. That's
Yeah.
what I'm eating at between those hours.
Yeah.
So,
Well, most of the food that I ate there was pretty much diner food, so it worked out, yeah.
no,
Uh,
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'm sure families go into the double R.
Yeah.
Damn it, that's a diner. It has pie, and
Yeah.
if I can get pie at 3 in the morning, it's a diner. That's
So everybody,
and
if
diners are the best.
yeah, so if you kind of see where we've been doing the digression quite heavily already, that's probably
Yeah.
because it's been a while since we've talked here on Ghostwood.
Yeah.
Because yours truly kind of screwed up the schedule a little bit by asking Zan to join me on Next Stop Everywhere as special guest companion. And if you've listened to Next Stop Everywhere 139, the greatest show in the galaxy, hint, hint, you can see that she did an awesome job
Why,
on it.
thank you.
And is obviously welcome back anytime because we talked Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred as the Seventh Doctor and Ace, and it was great, good times. And
It was
it was great talking Doctor Who for a change as opposed to Twin Peaks. Not that I don't love talking Twin Peaks with you because obviously I do, but it was great talking something else with you
well,
like that.
what it said to me, and if you don't feel the same way, that's fine. But
Yes.
what it said to me is that you and I just have a fantastic time nerding out together. Doesn't matter what we're nerding out on. We just have a good time together when we're nerding out. That's what
Well, I hope you're having a good time.
I
Because
am.
because if we're doing all this stuff and you're not having a good time, I feel really bad.
You're one of my favorite people, Charles. I could do this all day.
Well, you're one of my
And
favorite people, so let's do this.
let's do it.
Let's,
And Charles, if you did listen to 139 Next Up Everywhere,
yes.
Charles does a really good job of reining me in when he's got a nice
Agenda.
strategic agenda,
Yeah.
which he has for us today, so we don't
Yes. Drift.
go with this nebulous
Yeah.
adrift
Yeah.
of all of the Windom Earle bits from here and there. So let's
And I
see how
didn't think it was a micromanaged agenda.
No, it just kept us on track.
It was
It
just a
kept us
very. It was.
focused.
I just saw it as like it's a very loose outline of what I want to do, what I want to talk
Yeah.
about, and what I want us to talk about. So, with that in mind,
It just kept us focused.
let's dive right into our Windom Earle discussion at long last.
Let's do
And
it.
let's talk about that. So, obviously, the big players in this, we got obviously Kenneth Welsh as Windom Earle,
Heck yes, Kenneth Welsh.
who just kills it in every scene he's in.
Kenneth
Uh,
Welsh is amazing, and if you haven't watched The Expanse, you probably should.
yes, or anything else that he's in. He's been
I'm just thinking that's the most recent thing he's been in.
right, right.
So, yeah,
That's a good modern reference. Yes.
yep.
Obviously, Kyle MacLachlan is Special Agent Dale Cooper.
Cooper.
Yeah. Eric Dare as Leo Johnson. Got to talk about Leo because
I just, I, you,
as who ends up becoming Windom Earle's henchman.
you come so close to feeling sorry for Leo.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, wait a minute, he dealt cocaine to and
Yes.
raped teenagers. I forgot about that.
He,
Oh, and he's a spousal abuser, and he beats up Shelley.
yeah,
That
he's
way,
still a horrible person, who deserved everything
you know
coming
what?
to him.
Put that shot collar right back on Leo because I still hate your ass.
Leo the lion.
Speaking of Eric Dare, I was reminded of something that I had completely forgotten about recently.
Okay.
My friend Juice and I went to the, for those of you in the Columbus area, the Marcus Crosswoods,
Right. Cinema.
my preferred movie theater for mainstream films because of its recliners.
Mm-hmm.
For engagements and special movies, the Gateway is the place to be, and the Studio 35 is the place to be. But if you want to see a popcorn movie or you want to do a Fathom event situation,
Right.
want reserved seating, I like the Marcus Crosswoods. I'm sure Pickerington is fine. It's just too far away for me to go.
Yeah.
They were running a retro cinema thing, and Juice and I went to go see Buffy the Vampire Slayer as
Okay.
a tribute to the late great Luke Perry,
Yes, who passed recently, which is
recently
and,
passed.
and it's really weird watching Riverdale with now that he's dead.
I know it's sad, isn't it? But yeah, I always really loved the Buffy movie, and it's like I like the Buffy show too, but it's like a 60-40
Yeah.
Buffy movie, Buffy show for me.
Yeah.
So Luke Perry, I know he was Dylan McKay for a lot of years, but for me, he's Pike from Buffy. Guess who's in that? Because his mom was the casting director.
Who?
That would be Eric Dare, and Joanna Ray does the casting for him.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
he has this uncredited
I
cameo.
never realized because I've watched that movie and I don't remember him being in it.
But
Is he
you're not
just like
thinking.
like a minor cameo or?
Yeah, you're not just a minor cameo. He's uncredited, and I even looked in the IMDb, and even the character isn't credited.
Mm, okay.
But there's a scene where Buffy leaves a basketball game because one of the basketball players is a vampire who knows who she is, so she has to hunt them down.
Right.
She leaves the basketball games and knocks over a biker and steals his motorcycle to get to where the
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think I
yeah,
remember that. Yeah.
Eric Dare.
Wow.
And Joanna Ray is casting director of Buffy the Vampire
All
Slayer.
right. Now I want to watch that movie again.
Right? Right? It's like you can kind of tell it's him, but then when you turn around, he's got that epic Leo ponytail. So
The brony tail.
the epic brony tail.
Yeah. Oh, you just cut out on me.
But yeah, it's and just well, and the thing is, I don't know what the hell's going on tonight, but
Yeah,
yeah,
poor connection.
yeah, internet buffering. But when you got somebody who looks like Eric Dare in a movie that Joanna Ray casted, odds are good.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I was watching the credits. I was like, oh wow, Joanna Ray casted this, and then I saw him. I was like, oh, there we go.
Yeah,
So,
because I remember seeing her name as casting for a lot of that stuff. So yeah, that makes sense. I didn't realize the connection that they were related. All right.
yeah,
We also had Jack Nance, of course, as Pete Martell, chess expert.
Pete Martell, chess expert,
Yep.
and heartbroken over the loss of Josie Packard.
Yeah, but I really like the fact that they added this little element to Pete's character because for one thing Pete got more screen time than he normally did.
You get more Pete. That's
Yeah,
the
exactly, and more Jack Nance as Pete is always a better episode in my opinion.
Well, and do you remember when we said, or when I said,
Because
when we
Pete's
were
one of my favorite characters. So
I love Pete. I love Jack Nance
yes,
in general.
right.
Well, do you remember when we were talking about the secret history of Twin Peaks?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was bizarre how they described Pete in that as Pete played checkers, not chess,
Yeah.
as a way to describe him as not being one of the upper
Brightest.
crust.
Yes.
No, he's just not upper crusty
Yes.
like the Packards are. And I just remember thinking, wait a second, that's not right.
Right, because Pete plays chess.
Pete plays chess all the time.
And he
He's
and he
checkmate.
and he, yeah, he's a master at it too. So
Yeah, exactly. So
it's not like he just, putters around with a chessboard with some guys down the street. He can
no, he's
no, he's capable of beating like three people in a diner, checkmating all of them 1, 2, 3.
he's got like some Bobby Fischer moves going on.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
searching for Pete Martell.
Searching for Pete Martell, yeah, coming soon to a theater near you in 1993.
And of course, we have the always awesome, always fantastic Miguel Ferrer's Albert Rosenfeld. So,
Oh,
yes,
fantastic.
Albert Rosenflower. So,
Ancient Rose and Flower.
little bit of trivia before we get into our discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if you knew this already or not. You probably already do because you're great at this, at obscure trivia like this. Harley Peyton named Windom Earle after what actor?
That's a really good question. I don't know.
Okay, the answer is actor William Windom.
Okay.
And if the name doesn't ring any bells, if you watch the original Star Trek series, he played Commodore Decker in the Doomsday Machine.
Whoa, that's like original Twilight. Not Twilight Zone.
Star Trek. Yes, yeah. Exactly. The original series.
Like Captain Pike original.
Well, not that far original. Not the pilot original, but this was like maybe
What's
first.
the pilot called?
The Cage.
Oh yes, you're right. Okay.
Which has been like really, like played up a lot on Star Trek Discovery, but it's a whole different Star Trek discussion.
Yeah.
Because Anson Mount plays Christopher Pike on that show, and he's so good on it. But Commodore Decker, yeah. So if you remember Commodore Decker from the original Star Trek series, the guy that was all obsessed, and he gets a little half crazy as he tries to, fly his ship into the Doomsday Machine. If you remember that episode, that's William Windom, the guy who gets named, or Harley Peyton named Windom Earle after. And also Humphrey Bogart's character from the 1941 film High Sierra. And his character was called Mad Dog Roy Earle. So basically he took William Windom's last name as Windom Earle's first name, and he took Mad Dog Roy Earle's last name as Windom Earle's last name. So now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
I would have never put that together. That's really interesting. And I love the fact that we are continuing the tradition of naming characters after classic film characters and or classic film actors and or actresses.
Yeah, I have to think that David Lynch probably had a little input on that, but maybe not.
So we got Leland Palmer.
Yeah.
We got Gordon Cole.
Right.
We got Windom Earle.
Right.
That's great. I love it.
Yep. Oh, and well, of course, Dale Cooper being named after Dale Bartholomew Cooper.
Yes.
the famous D.B. Cooper.
The famous D.B. Cooper, right?
Yep.
He's not really a classic film actor, though.
No, he's not a classic film actor, but he is a character in history. Yeah. So he is someone in history. So, all right. So let's get into our discussion.
But if you're interested, there's a fantastic episode of Unsolved Mysteries about D.B. Cooper that you can find on Amazon Prime, which is how I first heard of D.B. Cooper and was fascinated by him my whole life.
Yeah, so. I only learned of D.B. Cooper because of Dale Cooper.
Did you really? Okay.
After reading that's who he was named after, I'm like, okay, let me learn more about this guy. Yeah, very interesting person. So,
personally,
yes.
If you take a look at the of the composite drawing of D.B. Cooper,
right,
and you take a look at the composite drawing of the Zodiac Killer and take the glasses off,
ooh,
that's just me. But what do I?
Yeah, yeah, that's a little trippy.
Yeah, I think they might be one and the same dude because they still haven't found one of them.
I thought the Zodiac Killer was Ted Cruz's dad, but. You haven't heard that rumor?
Well, that would be awesome if that was...
You haven't heard that whole thing?
That's a good one. Yeah, that would be pretty funny.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to Twin Peaks: The Final Dossier. The first of the, or no, that's the second of the Scott Frost or Mark Frost books, picking up
Hmm.
after, of course, The Return, where we got a lot of backstory on Windom Earle.
Oh, what a nut job.
And so this is all basically his life before Cooper. So this is all pre-Cooper stuff. Because obviously, when we talked about the autobiography of Dale Cooper, where we got a lot of Windom Earle information when he was partners with Windom Earle, obviously this is way before they even met. So this is brand new stuff,
Right.
really, for
It's
us.
way before they even met, and as we realized when we were reading that after the fact,
Right.
a lot of it is they sort of took that out of canon,
Yeah,
out
exactly.
of the so. But we also know that there's multiple timelines probably here in the Twin Peaks universe, so who knows what's real?
Exactly. Uh, so born circa 1941, don't have an exact birth date for him. Windom Earle claimed that when he was 10 years old in 1951, he watched the film I Was a Communist for the FBI. And this is a real life film
Mm-hmm.
that was about a guy named Matt Chevik, or Cevetic, maybe it's Cevetic, Cvetic, played by Frank Lovejoy, and who is a guy who worked in a Pittsburgh steel mill. So we have Pittsburgh in play. And apparently the guy was like infiltrating the Communist Party for the FBI in Pittsburgh for 9 years.
Impressive.
And so apparently Windom Earle saw this and as a result was like inspired to get into law enforcement, as we find out.
Well, get into law enforcement and being
Yeah,
playing both sides
right.
of the system, frankly.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, yeah, by the way, I'm going to learn all these skills and then I'm going to use it to like, oh hey, kill my wife and stab my partner and all that jazz.
Just go freaking crazy.
Pretty much. Pretty much. So, apparently Windom Earle was quite a prodigy in his youth, and by the age of 14, he became a chess grandmaster.
Oh,
So,
I see where this is going.
yep. So obviously he had an early interest in chess. By age 16, he joined the University of Pennsylvania before earning a degree in criminal justice at age 18. So apparently he was on the accelerated program there.
Definitely, that's one thing you can say about Windom Earle. He is a genius,
Yeah.
an
So
evil, crazy, wackadoo genius, but a
right.
genius.
Yeah. So especially because which makes perfect sense because as we know, Windom Earle is essentially the Moriarty to Dale Cooper's Sherlock Holmes,
Oh, he is so the Moriarty to the Dale Cooper
right?
Sherlock.
Because I mean, he's doing
Yes.
disguises, the whole nine yards. So yeah, yeah, he's
And no
definitely
matter wherever Cooper goes, he's going to find him.
exactly,
You know?
and he's usually like everything. All things connect back to Windom Earle somehow, just like Moriarty. After graduating, he applies to the FBI, gets accepted as a trainee. He attended his training as an agent of the FBI in Quantico, and of course passed with really high marks, historically so.
Mm-hmm.
And as a special agent of the FBI by 1965, he gets loaned out to the bureau by the bureau to the Air Force as part of Project Blue Book.
Oh, where have I heard that before?
Exactly. So you can probably see where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, excuse me. And there he formed an interest in what the Dugpas, which are ancient Tibetan sorcerers dedicated to pure evil. Look it up. And
Google it, kids.
I
It's a real
did
thing.
Google it. Google it. What the Dugpas called the Black Lodge. So this is where he first learns about the Black Lodge.
See, and I thought this was a really fascinating addition to the final dossier
Yeah.
because I remember thinking when I watched Twin Peaks originally back in 1991.
Right.
So how does this guy, did he just figure this out by living out there in the woods?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah, because like, well, is he just connecting all this stuff because while he's out being like crazy hermit guy?
yeah, and I thought maybe that there was somebody like Bob that had
Yeah,
drawn him there, or the evil in these woods, as Harry calls it.
but this makes much more
Uh,
sense that it was just kind of lifelong obsession.
he's yeah, he's there for the Black Lodge as much as he
Right.
is there for Cooper, and I felt like, according to the final dossier, this made a perfect storm for Windom Earle. oh, Cooper is in that place I've been
Right.
obsessed with forever. I can get revenge
Right.
and I can summon evil and live amongst fear, and it's going to be perfect. So I thought that was a fascinating addition to his character from
And
this story.
obviously, if he had survived the final episode, he probably would have been like, one of those guys on the Zone website.
He would have been totally on his own website, or there would have been somebody's somebody's head and his body in an apartment
Yeah,
somewhere.
exactly. So about this time is when he also crosses paths with Douglas Milford, Dougie, who remember if we
Yes,
were
Dougie
as
Milford.
remembered, we found out was surprisingly heavily involved with Project Blue Book and Major
Very,
Briggs.
very heavily. Yes,
Yeah,
him and Major Briggs both very, very involved in
yeah,
Project Blue Book.
yeah. This rather minor addition to Mayor Milford's storyline of turned out to be this huge player that we never got to see.
That's what's so great about the world of David Lynch is that nothing happens on accident.
Right. And apparently, Windom Earle was removed from the project when he became, surprise, obsessive about it and violent, surprise again, and his activities were ended up being classified.
Oh my goodness. Windom Earle getting
Uh,
crazy already.
oh, Winnie. And in the aftermath, Earle partners up with Gordon Cole and some other agents in creating the Blue Rose Group.
Where
So,
have I heard this before?
exactly. So, Windom Earle is a founding member of the Blue Rose Task Force.
See,
Dig it.
it's uh I once again I have to come back and say
Yeah.
Gordon Cole is like the only surviving member of the Blue Rose Task Force,
Right.
and I
Of the
really worry
original
about
group, at least.
of
Yeah.
the original group. I mean, Albert,
It was him,
you know,
like him, and then probably Philip Jeffries, and
Philip Jeffries, yeah. Albert Rosenfeld is probably going to just be written down in history as having died of natural causes.
yeah,
But I really worry about Agent Tamora Pierce. I worry a lot about her.
yeah, Tammy. Yeah, we're not sure what's going to happen to her.
This might not end well for Tammy, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe she better hope there isn't season 4. But just saying, I'm hoping there's season 4. But
Oh my gosh.
so in 1973, Earl gets assigned by the Bureau as an investigator in the Watergate hearing.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Of course. Yeah, because that's probably where he met Fox Mulder's dad, Bill Mulder, his adopted
Yeah.
dad. um, during that time, he met the young law student, Caroline Powell, and the two started dating and eventually married on August 10th, 1974. So you can celebrate that anniversary when it comes up this year.
I would just drink and cry because
Now,
this is not going to end well.
now this date, of course, is the day after Richard Nixon resigned from office.
Yes, it is.
So and that
Hmm.
and that's pretty much the background we get before of from Twin Peaks: The Final Dossier. But some very interesting little contributions to the mythos of Windom Earle, I thought.
It definitely connects him to the evil in these woods.
Right, and then I like the fact that yeah, it wasn't just this thing he picked up by tracking Cooper to Twin Peaks and finding out about it. It was just
Right.
something. It was something he, like obviously is knew about and is like, well, hey, this is all kind of connecting.
And when you think about it, when you go back and you think about the episodes and
Yeah.
you think about him finding Major Briggs out
Right.
there
Right.
and you
So,
wonder,
so does it seem a little coincidental that, okay, the very place that Wyndham Earle is, wants to learn, to he's tracking down the Black Lodge, and Cooper just happens to get involved in a murder mystery in that area that leads him to Twin Peaks. So it's just like, obviously forces behind the scenes.
Cooper is also part of the Blue Rose Task Force.
Right.
Maybe Gordon Cole knows that this is a way for
Or
him.
or was this like Gordon Cole, like, okay, I want you here investigating this because I think it might be related to Wyndham Earle, but I'm not going to tell Cooper that.
Well, I think it's a good way for him to keep Cooper distanced from the Caroline situation
Yeah,
and yet still available to protect the world from Windom Earle,
yeah.
for lack of a better term.
All right. So this brings us to the autobiography of FBI Special Agent Dale Cooper, My Life, My Tapes.
My life, my tapes.
Now, we've talked about this quite a bit, but I could probably kind of hit the highlights here.
Hmm.
Um, so, just to kind of refresh everybody's memory, um, there was a job fair in 1975, December, where Windom Earle meets Dale Cooper for the first time as a young man who obviously was interested in joining the FBI. And when Cooper joined the
A
FBI,
young, fresh-faced Dale Cooper ready to make his contribution to law enforcement.
exactly. So when Cooper joins the FBI in the early 1980s, Windom Earle kept a close eye on him, and they end up getting partnered by the Bureau. Probably, I'm guessing, maybe Windom Earle had a hand in that.
I'm assuming he helped that happen, yes.
Yep,
That he pulled some strings to make sure that the young Dale Cooper
yep.
became his charge.
And apparently they started playing chess every day, which
They
is
played chess every day as
where,
partners, yes.
where of course Cooper learned at least a passing interest in chess. Obviously, nowhere near like the level of Pete Martell or Windom Earle, but
No, he never became
yeah.
master at it, but
But I'm sure he enjoyed its
he,
precision because he always enjoys precision.
there are things why when he comes back, yeah,
Exactly.
he loves precision and he loves rules and he loves patterns.
Order. Yeah.
Yeah, and chess will do that for you.
Structure and all that. Yeah.
Structure, yes. And I think Cooper prefers a passive level of conflict, which chess provides.
Yes.
You can be more of an armchair general in chess than actually having
Right.
having conflict with someone. And I think Cooper's a little bit better with that.
That's interesting. That's a very interesting insight. That you think it's his way of being confrontational without being directly confrontational.
Exactly right.
Okay.
That I think he's better with that. I think he's and when you see Cooper in a situation where he is in conflict, where he's like, take for example when he goes to rescue Audrey,
Yeah.
he pretty much just shuts it down. He's like, okay, here we are, bam, I'm taking her out of here, bam, leaving. He's not interested in the fight. He's interested in the result, I think.
Right.
And I think he's more comfortable with something that is
Like
more
like
passionate.
he planned the objective and then that's his focus.
Hmm.
Everything else is secondary.
Exactly. I don't think he's interested in the conflict itself. I think he's interested in the resolution.
Right.
And with chess,
Whatever it takes to accomplish the goal, which is probably why he was so willing to go against Bureau guidelines about not crossing the border.
right? And he said, I know this is against Bureau guidelines, but I'm right, so
Yeah.
deal with it."
Yeah.
And even then, he's not. And when you think about it, when he goes into his defense, he goes in to defend himself. He says, "I have no defense. I did this.
Yeah.
You just have to decide whether or not I was warranted in doing this."
Right.
So I don't think he's interested in the fight that much.
That's an interesting insight. I like that.
So
That's a good insight. All right, so let's see here. So, of course, about this time, as we know, Windom Earle starts getting a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
a little
And,
bit.
and he disappears about the time a body is found with his hands missing and its face destroyed.
Huh. Wonder
Windom,
who did that.
yeah, I wonder.
Hmm.
Scratching my head here.
Hmm.
Windom Earle, of course, claims not to remember what occurred during his disappearance, and no arrests were made, despite 4 months of investigation. And during his absence, of course, we know that Dale got a little closer with Windom Earle's wife, Caroline.
If by a little bit closer, you mean, do you still have that soundbite on your phone?
Which one?
That the one when you get close to a member
Oh,
of the human race that you want to. That's the one. That's what we're talking about.
yeah,
That's what we're talking about when we say he got a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah, a little sweet loving down by the fire.
a little bit. Yep.
I always love that reference from South Park. Um, of course, later FBI agent investigations would reveal that Windom Earle had, around this time, deliberately set up several coincidental meetings between Cooper and Caroline, because we
Hmm.
know he was trying to push these two together.
He was basically baiting Cooper.
Right,
I
right.
think he was
Yeah,
baiting both of them to see if they would betray him or not.
exactly. And then he felt like, aha, see, you betrayed me.
And then he just went all, hey, nana, nana, woohoo! He went crazy. He went stupid crazy.
Yes. And then during these meetings, he claimed to be out of town or occupied elsewhere. But of course, in reality, he'd end up like shadowing and monitoring the two from a distance. So he essentially like lied about where he was, came and was actually stalking them to basically prove his theory. That
Hmm.
he creates this self-fulfilling prophecy, and then he's like, "Oh, see, it came true." Because
See, everyone's against me. I must kill everyone.
right. Again,
Yeah,
he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
he is
Yes.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. When speculating for a motive for this behavior, Tammy Preston noticed in her examination that Windom Earle's sanity had at this point already started to slip. No kidding.
You think
So,
so, Tanny?
yeah, great observation there, Tam.
Yeah,
Uh,
she's new.
you just, I
She'll.
wonder how many hours she spent on that one. But,
Yeah.
so,
In other news, water is wet and fire is hot.
exactly. And that gum you like is going to come back in style.
It's going to come back in style. Yeah.
So when Windom Earle noticed that Cooper and Caroline had shown mild interest in one another at an FBI Christmas party, of course he becomes obsessed with the two of them having an affair. So he started to play Cupid for them, if only to make sure his paranoid fantasy matched reality.
That is just psychotic. That is just, and
Yes.
it's just weird. I mean,
Well, again, he's
yeah,
nuts. So
yeah, he's nuts.
there's not
And,
supposed to be a rhyme or reason for the madness here, I guess.
but
So
not only is he setting them up for
right,
their doom,
right.
he's
Well, it's almost like he's self-destructive in a way. Is that okay?
oh,
I
100%.
like
Yeah,
I feel that like I she would rather be with Cooper than me, and here I'm going to prove that, and then it's going to break my
yeah.
heart to see them together.
It's gonna break my heart, and then I'm gonna have every reason in the world to murder
Right.
everybody.
Not really connecting the dots that oh yeah, well maybe they wouldn't get together if I wasn't pushing them together.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But again, so by around 1985, Cooper was vacationing in the Caribbean, and Windom Earle claimed that his wife had been kidnapped by three men as they ate dinner. Caroline was found when she was arrested for prostitution in Lower Manhattan after her disappearance, suffering from a heroin addiction.
Hmm.
Heroin. Where has that come into play before?
Where have I heard somebody being force
Hmm.
fed heroin?
Yeah, and then after being kidnapped.
So it almost makes you wonder,
Mm-hmm. I
did
see where you go.
somebody did somebody get to Blackie before we knew that they were in town?
That's a good
I don't
question.
know.
That's a good question.
Now,
Because like if presumably Windom Earle had to get the heroin from somewhere, right? Now, granted,
yeah.
he's an FBI agent. He probably could have got it from some evidence locker somewhere.
Well, that's the thing. He could have gotten it from some evidence locker somewhere, but we also know that heroin is going, you know,
Right.
cocaine and heroin are doing pretty decent
Yeah.
traffic across the border.
And if, his interest in the Black Lodge kind of led him to focus on that area in the
Right. So
Northwest.
he knew what the trade was up there. So
Probably, yeah.
yeah, and it's doubtful that he had any hand in that, but at the same time, he was.
It's really interesting, though. If you
It
try
is.
to,
It's an,
you could connect it almost.
it is a very, very interesting coincidence.
Yes.
And Blackie does say that one line that, just like her daddy did to me.
Hmm.
So obviously he's who got her hooked on whatever she got hooked on.
Right.
But the whole the whole heroin thing is just such an interesting coincidence where somebody is sorry, I had to pick something up to look at it.
Like all of a sudden I'm on a tilt-a-whirl at the amusement park.
Yeah, no, I had to pick up my computer. I'm sorry about that. So it's just an interesting coincidence that somebody is in a whorehouse and being force-fed heroin.
Yep. Maybe, like if Caroline lived, maybe she and Audrey could have formed a support group.
Something, yeah. I just think that that just seems way too convenient.
Yeah, it does. So let's see, where are we? Okay, so she ends up getting, following an attempt on her life, Caroline gets moved to a safe house where Windom Earle decided, I'm not going to hang around.
Yeah.
Nope, meh. So, of course, this sparks an affair between Cooper and Caroline. And days later, of course, Windom Earle stabs both of them, killing
Mm-hmm.
Caroline and injuring Cooper, where he ended up having to recuperate. But, of course, following this act, he ends up getting institutionalized.
Sometimes I try to do things and they don't work out the way I plan them to. And I take my time and I try real hard.
Yep. I love that song, by the way.
I'm not
They
crazy.
just keep bugging me. They just keep bugging
And
me.
it builds up inside. And it builds up inside.
I actually I feel like Captain America, and like I understood that
I
reference.
just did that reference. I'm not crazy. You're the one that's crazy. You're driving me crazy.
I love that song.
For those
So
of you who don't know what this song is, it is called
institutionalized.
Institutionalized by Suicidal Tendencies,
Hmm.
and it is fantastic.
It is.
And for the rest of your life,
It was.
after you hear this song,
Yes.
when you ask for a Pepsi, you will say, just one Pepsi. That's all I want is just one Pepsi. So.
Very nice. Yeah, one of the great classics from the '90s. I love that
Oh,
song.
such a classic song.
Yeah. So following a taunting phone call he makes to Cooper in early 1988, as we jump ahead in the timeline, Earl escapes from the institution in March 1989 and makes his way, of course, to Twin Peaks, Washington, where Cooper had been investigating the murder of, you guessed it, Laura Palmer.
Because
So,
we all know what happened in February.
yes, exactly. In February, yes, as you kind of cut it out there a little bit. Yes.
Oh, yes, yes. That's because we all know what happened in February of 1989.
Right.
So
Exactly.
it's not right. But yeah, so what's
So,
interesting is it's so like melodramatic what happens with Cooper and Caroline. Because it's very like Florence Nightingale thing going on.
I see it's almost kind of like Shakespearean a little bit too.
It's a Shakespearean level tragedy where
Right.
he's the one that's supposed to protect her,
But he fails at his job and she dies.
he feels his job and she dies, and
And he's betrayed by his best friend.
and he's betrayed by his best friend and one of the series of father figures that he has accumulated over the decades.
Right.
He's got Windom Earle, he's got Gordon Cole, he's got Harry S. Truman. They're all father figures in one way or another.
Yep. Yeah,
but it's also
there's a bit of a trend there.
He's got a bit of a trend there, and it's not that Cooper doesn't have a father. It's just Cooper's father is he's kind of like Cooper. He's just very matter of fact. It's his mother who was the affectionate one, and she's the one that died very young.
Right, exactly.
So what I also think is just so, like you said, Shakespearean about the tragedy that is Cooper and Caroline is, correct me if I'm wrong, Charles, but doesn't Windom Earle kill them like the one night they have sex together?
Yes. Yeah, what was it? Yeah, it was like, which, of course feeds right into Cooper's issues with sex because, as we talked about when we talked about the autobiography of Dale Cooper, is that Cooper has like really traumatic sexual experiences throughout his life.
Really traumatic sexual experiences throughout his life. Even when he has sex with Annie.
Right.
It's to help her write her Miss Twin Peaks speech, and then the next night she gets kidnapped by Windom Earle after giving her Miss Twin Peaks speech.
And taken to the Black Lodge, and then she ends up in a coma. Or
dressed up like
catatonic, yes.
catatonic, and when she's in the lodge, she's dressed up like Caroline,
Right.
and it's yeah. If I were Cooper, I would just be.
It's like he's probably just like, I'm just sticking to porn. I'm not even going.
Maybe that's part of his fascination with the Dalai Lama. He's like, there's a monk that I could get behind. That works. I can deal with this.
Exactly. So that kind of brings us up to the TV series and the original TV series.
Mm-hmm.
And then by this point, it's not until episode 11 of the second season, Masked Ball, in 1990, where the Windom Earle storyline begins.
When we first get our
Cooper gets a letter from Windom Earle.
Mm-hmm.
And I take that back. The first one he got was in the episode Demons. But here, he gets another letter, another chess move, and this time he gets a tape. And this time Cooper listens to the tape and as he inspects a chessboard. And Windom Earle, we hear for the first time, saying that the king must die and that he will attain his goal at any cost. So this is where we hear Kenneth Welsh for the first time.
This is where we hear Kenneth Welsh for the first time, and this is where we get the reference as Cooper as the king, where we see him later as the king with the three queens.
Yes.
Which are Audrey, Shelley, and Donna.
Yep. And so the next episode, The Black Widow, Cooper has his chess response to Earle printed in the personal column of the paper, the Twin Peaks Gazette.
I love this plot point in anything that feels like it's such a mysterious, romantic plot point that is just gone these days. You don't have that anymore because nobody reads the paper anymore.
Right.
So that's not even something you could do. But things like Twin Peaks.
Yeah. So it's almost like a very twisted like pen pal relationship they have.
It is. It's like Twin Peaks, or I'm just thinking of stories that I like that do this. Twin Peaks, Red Dragon, or Manhunter.
Mm-hmm.
Desperately Seeking Susan, where there are these
Zodiac.
Yeah, exactly. There are these personal ad plot points, which I think is just such a fascinating thing.
Right.
And I always found the personals fascinating when I read a paper, when there was a paper to read.
To be read, yes.
Right, exactly. There probably are still personals in the paper. I just don't get the paper anymore. So
yeah, I think they're all online now.
You can still get the Dispatch, but I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I just read it online. So, and back when you got the paper, you just read the paper. You read all of it.
Yeah. Nowadays they would probably do it like on a secret bulletin board.
It's Craigslist, that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's that kind of thing. But there were these interesting personal ads.
Or like on a Reddit.
Yeah, something like that. But now you have to be. When you read the paper, you stumbled across things because it was just there and you were reading it. But now, if you're looking at things online, you're looking for what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people stumble on weird things as much as they used to when they used to just read whatever was in the paper. And Charles, you remember, I'm sure, that here in Central Ohio, we had a free paper, the Other paper.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that.
Did you ever read that?
Oh, I always did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still get it, like the was it the Alive, the Columbus Alive or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really prefer the Other paper. They always had that, like every so often they had like the Other poll, which is essentially
Mm-hmm.
like a complete like local poll of the entire what's going on in the city.
Exactly, and you knew what the best places
were. And they had like stupid questions, and I love that.
And you filled it out in pen and cut it out and sent it into them. It was awesome. They also used to have a photo contest where you had to guess where a certain photo was taken around town.
Yeah.
And I won that once. Thank you very much.
Nice.
But anyway, but the whole point I'm getting to with the personal ads is they had these personal ads in the back of the Other paper.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them were just your standard straight up personal ads. They had them separated by like man seeking woman, man seeking man, woman seeking woman. You know, they had
They
it.
were great ads, by the way. Then
And those were
I just
if
would
it was
laugh reading some of these.
yeah. If there were you know the man seeking woman, woman seeking man, woman seeking woman, man seeking man. Those were kind of just run of the mill like,
Right,
hi, I'm a divorced single white male with two kids, and I'm looking for another single white male for friendship and maybe more. You know, those were
right, right.
kind of boring. But then there was a section in the other paper called Entre Nous.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was the sort of thing like a 47-year-old baby needs mommy to change his diaper. I mean,
Yes.
that kind of stuff. And then there was one that I loved. It was called You Caught My Eye. That was the section. And it was like me, you at the grocery store buying leaf lettuce and People magazine. Me standing behind you with ice cream, too shy to say hello. You know, that kind of stuff. And
It's like
um,
me stalking you. No.
yeah, me like really paying attention to you and then, you know, paying to put in an ad for this. And so I found this,
That was a wonderful trip down memory lane you just laid out for me.
thank you, thank you. And I would get that and I would wind up reading those and Chris would be like,
Yeah.
why are you reading the personals? I'm like, because these are amazing.
I read those to Lori. I just thought they were
Yeah,
hilarious.
I'm not gonna call anybody. I'm married. I'm not gonna call anybody, but
Yeah.
I thought they were fascinating. And just when you think of something like that, when you think of like, imagine reading the newspaper and something like as bad of a newspaper as like the Twin Peaks Gazette or something like that.
Right, right.
And
What would the Twin Peaks Gazette version be of that?
seriously, it would be like me in line for fishing tackle, you purchasing uh purchasing bullets and a flannel.
Or drapery runners,
Yeah, you buying cotton balls
cotton
for your
balls.
grocery stores. Me buying fishing tackle and too shy to say hello, whatever. But imagine if you just read the newspaper and then all of a sudden there's like a chess move in there,
Yes.
you know? Or just think about Red Dragon where you're reading the paper and then there's like this really long biblical
Yeah.
passage and you're like, somebody is up to no damn good here.
And I want to know more.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Desperately Seeking Susan,
No, I haven't.
but
I mean, I know of it. That obviously that with the Madonna movie. Yes.
that movie is exactly about that. That's what happens. Is they the Rosanna Arquette character
Right.
is fascinated by the personal ads and goes to the place where Susan is supposed to meet up with the person that's putting the personal ads in there,
Right.
but then hits her head and gets amnesia.
Oh.
So can you tell this is an 80s storyline?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the whole movie revolves around personal ads.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a plot point that we're not going to see anymore, and I'm kind of sad about it because I think it's awesome.
Yeah. That is definitely a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
So back to Windom Earle. So Earl responds like a day before the paper goes out, anticipating Cooper's move.
Anticipating Cooper's move, and Cooper is calling in Pete and saying, "We can only hold the paper for so long, fellas."
Right,
You know,
exactly.
we gotta
So
figure this out.
so Cooper realizes that okay, I need someone with more skills than I've
Mm-hmm.
got. So in the next episode, Checkmate, of course, Lucy tells Cooper that she checked out all the personal columns in the national newspapers and found that nothing that looked like a chess deal and no name like Windom Earle.
Mm-hmm.
And then later at the end of the episode, because remember when we talked about this was the big Jean Renault storyline coming to a
Yes.
close.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come back to the sheriff's station at the end of the episode, Truman asks Lucy about a bomb report that happened, and Lucy tells him there was a voice on the phone that said there was a bomb planted in the woods.
Mm.
So yes, this is obviously, again, Windom Earle making his opening moves. That's why I got that title. There was a huge explosion and the lights went out. Lucy calls the fire department. There were two fires, one being at the power station. So this is obviously intentional. Hawk goes to check the generator while Cooper enters the station and calls to Harry from his office. Harry enters and sees a body with long hair tied to a chair with one hand pointing at a chessboard, saying, Cooper says it's Windom Earle's next move. Dun dun dun. So
Dun, dun, dun,
Dun, dun,
dun.
dun, dun. Yeah, so things obviously escalating at this point as the storyline really starts kicking into high gear now that the Dead Dog Farm saga is over.
Yes, now that Windom Earle is aware that Cooper can give his full attention to Windom Earle,
Right.
he's ramping it up because what the deal
Yes.
is that every time Cooper makes a move that allows Windom Earle to take one of Cooper's pieces,
Somebody
Windom Earle
dies.
Windom Earle's going to kill somebody.
Exactly. So this is the obviously the stakes are raised literally,
Hmm.
because yeah. So there's a race now going to be on about how do we keep more players from being taken off the board and people dying. So gotta get
And
an expert.
and he tries to get an expert. Get Pete Martell in here. Get Pete Martell on the phone.
Yeah. So
Um,
next
he
episode.
tries to get Pete Martell to do a stalemate,
Right.
but they figure out that they cannot do a stalemate in anything less than 4 moves,
Yes.
which is interesting because that is a king and 3 queens.
Yep.
So who knows what's going to happen there?
Yeah. So that, yeah,
I
that
mean,
was that you just jumped way ahead to the condemned woman, but that's okay.
I'm just saying that like we're talking about that
Yes. Yes.
he what their plan is not to take his pieces, but they want a stalemate.
Right.
They're not trying to. Again, Cooper is not trying to win the battle. He's not trying to win the conflict. He's trying to end the conflict.
Yes.
That's Cooper's
So
plan.
again, so it's Cooper trying to like thinking about the result, or
Yes.
like the goal, to achieve the goal, whatever it takes, and part of that goal
Eyes on
is
the
to
prize.
keep people from dying.
Yes, eyes on the prize, Cooper.
Exactly. All right. So the chess pawn is found in the mouth of that dead guy, in
Hmm.
the and Cooper predicts that hey, a stab wound would be found on the body, and sure enough, yes, it is.
Yep.
Hawk announces that he found one set of footprints leading to and away from the sheriff's station. Cooper explains his undoubting belief that Windom Earle is responsible for the crime. Because who else, right?
Hmm.
At this point, Harry confirms to Cooper his mutual belief that Windom Earle was responsible for the murder and offers to let Cooper investigate the case because, remember, at this point, he's Harry's deputy
He's a deputy of the Twin
because he
Beach Sheriff's
hasn't
Department.
been reinstated in the FBI yet.
This is true.
So Cooper studies a chessboard, explains to Harry that he and Windom Earle played chess every day for 3 years, which we talked about. Earle, as it turns out, won every game.
He never beat him.
He never beat him, exactly. So
Yeah.
Cooper's obviously out of his depth here a little bit. Cooper also explains at this point about his affair with Caroline and his belief that Windom Earle was the one who murdered her. So
I wonder.
Harry kind of gets tipped in a little bit, learning
I
some.
wonder if Caroline saw the face of the man who killed her.
I saw the face of the man who killed me. Write it in your diary.
Right in your diary. Yes. I wonder if we'll ever find that out.
Yeah, maybe. Good question. So at this point, this is another big scene here. Leo, who's been kind of, after coming back to semi-consciousness and trying to kill Shelley and storming off into the woods, he's walking through the woods until he stumbles across a log cabin. Dun dun dun.
Oh, the
Upon going inside, a man introduces himself to Leo as Windom Earle. So this is where we finally get to see Windom Earle in person.
yeah. This is not the old man that tries to befriend Frankenstein's monster people.
No, no, this is not Gene Hackman and Young Frankenstein.
He is not going to make espresso for Leo. That's all I'm saying.
Smoke, smoke. No. All right, so that was double play. So that we jump ahead to the next episode, Slaves and Masters, and Albert Rosenflower arrives at this point on direct orders from Gordon Cole, who is, and I quote, "I'm worried about Coop."
He's worried about Coop.
With,
Yeah, you should be.
yeah, right. With the present danger of Windom Earle, he presents a map of where Earle has sent packages containing articles of clothing Caroline Earle wore on her and Wyndham's wedding night.
So creepy.
Right? It's like, what am I going to do today? I think I'll send out packages. And, like oh, what can I use in the packages? I know, Caroline's clothes that she wore on our wedding night. That's perfect.
That's perfect. Let me get Caroline's garter belt, okay? God, so creepy.
Yeah. Um,
He's so creepy.
Leo, of course, wakes the next morning to find that Windom Earle is playing a bamboo flute. And he reads off Leo's criminal record. Leo stands up, tries to leave, but Earl whacks him down with the flute and pins him like he's wrestling or something, and declares Leo to be a pawn to him and places a shock collar on him.
Which
And
is
and everybody who's been waiting for something horrible to happen to Leo is just like, yes, good times.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is
Yes,
that
queen.
if it were anybody else, you would feel bad, but because it's Leo,
You don't.
it's hilarious.
The
Because
Schaden, the
Leo,
Schadenfreude is so strong at this point.
the Schadenfreude is delicious, and Leo is being treated like the dog that Leo is.
I ate my Schadenfreude with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. Yeah,
Yeah. Does it taste like licorice? Because I bet it tastes like licorice. It's so fantastic.
yeah, it's great. So Harry gets a little more info on the murder victim. Tells him that the guy's name was Eric Powell, whose surname was just like that of Caroline's. Remember Caroline Powell before
I
she
do remember
became...
Caroline Powell.
So Cooper tells Harry about Earth Windom Earle's method of using chess, explaining that whenever he takes a piece off the board, somebody dies. We talked about that. They decide to employ a local expert, and this is where they start bringing in Pete. So we go to the Double R Diner. Pete wins 3 consecutive chess games against Toad, Cooper, and Dr. Hayward. So Doc Hayward. So I think it's kind of interesting. That's very interesting levels there of Pete. He beat Toad. Okay, you can kind of see that.
I
Cooper,
would think though that there's a
Cooper,
very good possibility that like Toad could be like some sort of chess savant, you know?
that could be. Maybe that's who
And
he
just
regularly
yeah.
plays. Is they played they played chess at the Double R, I guess. But Pete agrees to help out with the investigation because hey, what else has he got to do all day?
I love
Uh,
it when you have a story
yeah.
where you need like this really niche specialist
Mm-hmm.
that just happens to be there, you know?
Yeah.
Where you have this town of Twin Peaks that what is it? What's the population of Twin Peaks? Like 13,000
So,
something?
yeah.
It's 13,000 something. I forget what it is.
Right.
Um but there just happens to be a chess champion living in Twin Peaks.
Well,
You
law of
know,
averages. I mean, there's thousands of people in Twin Peaks. One of them had to be pretty good at chess.
but a chess champion?
Well, you know.
I mean, you mean pretty good at chess, dude sitting
Yeah.
in the park with those little dingy things. But or it's like the movie The Birds. You
Yeah.
know, The Birds, Hitchcock.
Alfred Hitchcock. Yes.
They're all holed up in that diner, and this old woman is like, "I am an ornithologist." You're like, "Really? Right now, at this point, on this island, in this restaurant, there's an ornithologist?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?"
Chekhov's Chekhov's chess expert, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's just so convenient. I love it. It always cracks me up when it happens in a story.
Yeah. This now Windom Earle at this point starts getting into disguises.
Oh, the Windom Earle disguises are
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah. Which anybody who was actually like paying attention could probably figure out rather easily, because they're kind of really bad disguises.
Well, he
So he puts on a disguise, forces Leo to transcribe a poem to be given to Donna, Shelley, and Audrey, showing pictures of them and asking which one will be his queen.
loves philosophy.
Yep, by Percy Blythe Shelley, published in 1819.
What is all this sweet work worth if thou
Um,
kiss not me?
yeah, and for anybody who is not up on that poem, the main theme is the connection that exists between all things in the world in general and between the poet and the object of his affection in particular. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
It's about unity in nature. So,
Yes.
and yeah, so that's what he's trying to focus on here. Again, he's a little, woo. Um, So Cooper, meanwhile, is like staring fondly at a photo of Caroline, as you do, and Earl passes him from behind. Cooper completely misses him. He's right there,
Another
and
awesome,
as Windom Earle's delivering a message for Audrey at the hotel's front desk.
another awesome visual storytelling trope of
Yes,
the
yes,
the person standing there and then the
and
person they are looking for going right behind
and of
them.
course, Windom Earle is just like all amused that Cooper doesn't see him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and it's funny too because Windom Earle goes to the double R like 5 times in like a different
right.
disguise, and nobody notices. And what I thought was weird is,
Well, to be
and we
fair,
talked about
like they ran out of tape because they couldn't put up any Warner posters because Andy used up all the tape.
Andy used them all tape. That's true. And we talked about this before that when I'm just going to call them the three queens from now
Yes,
on.
right. That's good. That's fair.
When they meet up at the roadhouse
Hmm.
to meet the stranger, and they
Yes,
both realize they all three of them realize that they have
right.
a third of the same poem.
Yeah.
Windom Earle was at the bar dressed exactly as
Yes.
he was when Shelley saw him earlier at the diner. I think that's risky on Windom Earle's part.
Well,
That's a
well, he's cocky at this point.
I just think that's a major slip in the planning for Windom Earle. That he seems like he would be more cunning than that, but that's just me.
Yeah. I think it's just more that he's so excited by this point. Like he's so into his fantasy that
This,
he's not
yeah,
thinking about this, obviously.
this is some crazy Count of Monte Cristo level bullshit that's going on here. So he's like, I've waited so long.
Yeah, Alexandre Dumas is like all over this. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that's a literary reference for you kids. Um, Surprise! See, you learned stuff here on Ghostwood. So
We
this
know
brings
lots of guys.
Yeah, so Cooper goes back to his room where he finds a creepy death mask of Caroline along with a tape recorded message from Windom Earle.
So
So
creepy.
so and here's the thing. This mask, it's not just resting on his bed, it's backlit. He put a light back there to make it look
Mm-hmm.
even creepier, sitting there
And
on his
that's
bed.
in this day and age and in this Western culture.
Right.
If you make a death mask, you're up to no good. That's all I'm saying.
So just like just keep in mind if you're stalking somebody or you're being all creepy like that, you're gonna have to up your game a little because
Yeah.
Windom Earle raising that stalker bar really high.
Uh,
So
oh,
that
so
brings us
creepy.
to the condemned
And
woman.
I would like
Oh,
a discussion with.
go ahead.
I'd like to have a discussion with the security people at the Great Northern because this is just
Do they even
a little
have
out of hand.
security people? I've never even seen
I
like
don't think so.
I don't think so either. Of course, this is the '90s, and they figure, well, it's
Yeah.
Twin Peaks. The only people that die here are homecoming queens, right?
Nobody
So
locks the doors here. That kind of a town.
yeah,
I mean, I can understand it
but
that a murdered body shows up in the police station when all the police are away and the only people that are left there are Andy and Lucy.
I know.
That makes sense to me. But but you'd think somebody
There-
would have noticed
Yeah,
somebody walking into because Cooper's been in that room for like a month and a half now.
yeah.
They'd be like, "Hey, you're not Mr. Cooper. Why are you going into his room?"
And when you have a police department that's one step above the Andy Griffith show, you know,
Yeah,
you think you'd be a little more safety conscious, but
yeah, you'd think so. But
maybe not.
what are you gonna do?
What are you going to do? So this brings us to the condemned woman, which we talked about not too long ago. And this is where things really start escalating, big time. Cooper and Harry listen to the message from Windom Earle, who recorded it for Cooper, of course.
Mm-hmm.
He challenges Dale to a deadly chess game, asking him to place his next move in the newspaper. And this is where Harry tells Lucy to call Pete Martell and find out the paper's deadline that you're talking about.
Right.
Harry admires Caroline's face in the mask, and Cooper says she was the love of his life.
Aww.
Yep.
You feel so bad for Cooper, and
It's like, of
you
course, the
gotta,
one girl that I liked got killed by my crazy partner.
yeah, it doesn't end well for the women in Cooper's life either.
No,
Not even Audrey.
right.
and he doesn't
No.
even really have a thing with Audrey, and it still ends badly for her.
It's like just being in Cooper's proximity, bad things are going to happen to you.
Pretty much, yeah. If you wind up naked in Cooper's bed, whether Cooper's with you or not, bad shit is gonna happen to you.
Pretty much, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would start sleeping with one eye open because, yeah,
Yeah. Uh huh.
slightly. So at the Double R Diner, Windom Earle once again turns up, leaves an envelope for Shelley as Norma talks on the phone with her sister Annie, who is, how's Annie?
Who's
Who's
gonna?
come? Who's coming
She's
to Twin
fine.
Peaks? She's fine. Who's coming to Twin Peaks to after leaving a convent? And yes, that becomes more important later on.
Yes, it does.
Norma finds the envelope, gives it to Shelley. Contains a portion of the poem and a request to meet at the Roadhouse. And then we've cut to another scene where Leo's carving arrows for Earl,
Mm-hmm.
and who comes to check on his progress and shock him a couple times because hey, why not? It's fun.
Go for it. It's Leo. Do whatever you gotta do.
You just go right ahead, Wyndham, and just keep
Just
shocking
go
him.
hog wild on Leo. It's fine.
Psst. Um,
Just
so
go up to him and just whack him across the head and go, "This is where we live, Leo."
when I come home to this cabin, I expect this cabin to be clean.
And I mean clean. All right. I'm gonna clean this cabin, and then I'm gonna show you how to clean this cabin, and then you're gonna do it. First thing you got to do is have a good attitude, Leo.
That's
The
the
key.
key.
Anybody will tell you that. Oh.
So fun.
Spousal abuse is not a joke. There's help out there. Rain.org.
Yes. But again, Leo deserves it.
Leo deserves every bit of it that he
Exactly.
gets. Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, when it comes down like if you're trying to weigh that cosmic balance,
Hmm.
you kind of have to be a little team Wyndham Earle here.
Yeah, you kind of do. Yeah. See,
When it comes to Leo, at least.
yeah,
Yes.
we here at Ghostwood do not in any way condone
No.
spousal abuse or partner violence in any way, shape, or form. We do, however, condone comeuppance that comes to those who instigate violence against their partners.
Yes, we do condone abuse against spousal
Abusers.
abusers.
Yes, we do condone spousal abuse or comeuppance. Full,
We condone spousal abuser abuse.
yes,
How's
we
that?
fully condone that, especially when
Or
it's Leo.
abuse against spousal abusers. Yes.
Yes, abuse against abusers. Yeah, we're totally into that.
Yep. We're all for it. We're the ABA. This abuse against
That's a
abusers.
abuse against abusers. We are pro, 100% pro.
Like we meet on Thursdays and we bring punch and pie. Everybody will come if you bring. I love that you just picked right up on that. Okay.
So
So where am I? I'm totally losing the thread here. Um, okay. Okay. So Pete, meanwhile, tries to figure out his next move to make against Windom Earle, trying to keep all their pieces on the board. He comes up with a move that will keep Windom Earle from taking at least another piece off the board for at least 5 to 6 moves, frustrating him.
hmm
And that's kind of where the chess game kind of ends. And I was a little disappointed because I wanted to see it play all the way out. Because I think I've mentioned this before, that I had a chessboard set up and I was kind of following along with the
Yes,
show.
that's right. You did mention that before.
I know that was a supremely nerdy thing to do, but I did it.
Eh,
It was cool. So it was fun there for a while, just kind of seeing how the chess game was going. So Donna meets up with Shelley at the Roadhouse, and Donna mentions that she got this weird note from somebody wanting to meet her there. When Shelley's like, "Well, hey, I've got a weird note too. We're twinsies," and they piece it together. And then all of a sudden, Audrey shows up, and she's got a piece.
looks like we all have something in common. And she's got a piece also. And Windom Earle is at the bar going, "Oh, yeah, be my queen."
And so
All right, underage girls in a bar, you read that classic poetry.
exactly. You go with that 19th century or 19th century poetry. Um, so yeah, he's watching them from the bar, and that's kind of where we leave off.
That is
So
kind of where we leave off. Yeah.
so essentially that's basically Cooper, or excuse me, Windom Earle, of course, making uh, those initial steps, and obviously someone people were dying. They try to prevent this, and the creep factor is like way past 11 at this point.
Oh yeah, the shit is hurtling towards the fan right now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're in for some good times coming up. So
Oh my goodness.
all
Yeah.
right. So
Looking for some major production, major dramatic paper mache production action that's going to happen here pretty
yeah,
soon.
wake the kids, phone the neighbors.
Oh, what year is this?
Nice. So anything else about Windom Earle before we head into our special Gmail this week?
I would just like to just let this percolate in somebody's mind.
Mm-hmm.
In this day and age, how
Yes,
many of you would immediately recognize your spouse's handwriting?
I would.
You've been married for 20 years.
This is true.
That's the
I
thing.
better know it by now.
You've had 20 years of cards and
Yes,
stuff like
exactly. Yeah,
that. I'm just
exactly.
talking about like now, like when do you ever leave
Well,
your
no,
spouse?
they don't because they all text to each other.
I was gonna say, do you ever leave your spouse a note saying like, "Hi, I went to bed, dinner's in the oven," or anything like that? No, you text them and say, "When you get home, I'm gonna be in bed,
Yeah,
dinner's in the oven, love you, good night," that sort of a thing.
yeah. No, see, Lori and I are different. We leave post-its for one another.
Oh, I invented post-its.
You invented post-its?
So, yeah, I think it's interesting because I remember I remember wondering when they put the letter together. I remember thinking, I wonder why Shelley doesn't just say, "Oh, you guys, this is Leo. Oh my God, what the hell? He's gonna
Right.
kill us." It takes her. It takes her.
Remember though, but when Leo was writing that, this was after he was being shocked, so his handwriting was a little scribbly.
$5. Get out of here.
It probably looked like Donald Trump's signature, like all like Richter scale,
True. Yeah. All just,
or like a lie detector
it's
graph.
like a lie detector going out the charts. That's what Donald Trump's handwriting looks like.
I
I
don't
wonder if there's
I don't
any
know.
correlation to that.
I have no idea, but
I don't know how that could possibly go
mm,
hand in hand.
crazy, right?
Um, but she eventually figures it out. I'm just surprised that she didn't figure it out at the bar and just because if
Yeah,
I were Shelley,
yeah,
I'd still be kind of freaked out. Like, where the hell did Leo go?
yeah.
And then I get this creepy poem in his handwriting with two of my friends get the same poem.
Yeah.
I'm
But
surprised.
but do you think Leo was a big writer though? Like
That's the
he
thing.
just yelled at her a lot.
There's
He
probably
wanted something done. He didn't leave a note. He just like he yelled at her or he beat her with a sock in a sock or
yeah,
soap bar in
soap
a
in a sock.
sock. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no note hanging from the fridge saying this house better be clean, and I mean clean. Love, Leo. I mean,
Right. Right.
there's probably not a lot of that going on. But I remember thinking about that at the time, going, really, it took you this long to recognize the handwriting? But now that I'm thinking about it from a 2019 perspective,
Yes.
I wonder how fast people would see that. You know?
Especially if you're Shelley and you're probably trying to block everything of Leo out of your brain.
Or like I said, you're probably not getting a lot of physical cards, not a lot of
Yes.
little
Yeah.
notes or anything like that.
Right.
So yeah. Oh, sorry if there's any background noise. Somebody's getting life flighted to the hospital.
Oh, is that what that is?
That's what that is.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
So
I thought, I thought you were getting like dive bombed by kamikaze pilots or something there.
nope.
All
We
right.
are. I can see in the winter time. I can see Riverside Hospital from my house, and so
Not Russia. Not Russia.
no, not Russia.
Okay.
Um, and can't see this because actually, yeah, I get life flight helicopters a lot, and
Okay.
it's a little depressing. But
I'm sure it
that's what that
is.
noise was. So I apologize.
It's like something
Yeah,
horrible has happened to somebody, and yeah,
you get really hopeful though that they're going to get fixed, but
yeah,
yeah, you
yeah,
hear it a lot.
yeah. Just fingers crossed. Okay.
hmm
All right. So we did get some Gmail since last
Oh,
time, which is great. Hopefully we get more of that. Hint, hint. We'll talk about
I
how
would
to do
love to
that
get
here
more
in a minute.
detail.
So,
Yeah.
so Matt C, who writes in to us, emailed us, says, "Hi Zan slash Charles." So Zan gets top billing here. Firstly, I love listening to your podcast. Well, we love you listening to our podcast. That
Thank
works.
you, Matt. See,
That
that's awesome.
that works out perfectly. I'm a big David Lynch fan and have been a fan of Twin Peaks since it first aired in the UK during 1990. I was lucky enough to see Fire Walk with Me on the big screen upon
Nice.
its release, as I was.
Awesome.
As I type this, I'm actually in Camden, London, and will be shortly watching Krista Bell in concert. So
Cool.
that's cool. Yep.
That is really super cool.
So
I am jealous.
Matt C gets major points for that. He goes on, I've listened to every episode of your podcast and really like it.
Well, thank you so much, Matt. We are glad you're listening, and we're glad you're liking it.
Yeah. And the geeky references are the best and always put a smile on my face during my commute to work.
Fantastic. I'm glad somebody appreciates our
Yes,
digression, Charles.
exactly. Yeah. See, they do have a point. No,
They have a point.
really,
Yes.
they haven't.
Matt likes them.
Yeah.
And
So,
I mean, we're not going to let,
yeah.
we're taking Matt's positivity as just that. It's not going to encourage us to do more, I promise. They'll
So,
just still happen organically like they always do.
so we're going to reveal right here and now that we're actually, all those references we made, those are for Matt. We just
Those are
did.
just for Matt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and they're just for you, man. Everybody else, if you enjoy them, great. It's really great that you're covering the original series, and congratulations for your handling of the James Hurley saga.
Thank you.
Very entertaining, smiley face. I look forward to more podcasts soon, and maybe even a return rewatch. Fingers crossed.
Oh,
Because remember, we haven't done our commentary on the return yet.
and I would love to go back and watch The Return now that I know what's happening because I felt like I watched The Return
Yeah.
very, very impatiently.
Now you can savor it.
Now I feel like I can savor it and catch more things.
Yeah. Looking
So,
forward to the Windom Earle saga too. Well, we just talked about that.
all right, there you go.
So hey, keep up the good work, and thank you so much for all the work and time you put into this. All the best, all the very best to you both, Matt C. And in parentheses, he puts Mr. C! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark!
Mr. C, I love it.
Mr. C. So very cool.
Well, I gotta
Well,
say,
we are Iriv glad.
it's very, very, very happy that you are listening to
Exactly.
it. And as for the work we put into this podcast,
Yes.
what is all this sweet work worth if Matt not listened to us?
Nice. Well played. Well
Thank you.
played. Very well played. So yes. So thank you, Matt. It's great. It's always great to hear from people, and it's nice to know that somebody likes what we're doing, and that they're enjoying themselves. So we try.
I love knowing that there's other Twin Peaks nerds out there.
Hmm.
I love knowing that our nerdiness entertains other people, not just us.
Exactly.
So thank you so much, Matt, for writing in, and we hope we live up to your expectations. And we're probably going to rewatch The Return.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
So thank you for the email there, Matt, and and hopefully that's not your last. Hopefully we'll hear from you again. So
Yes, please keep in touch.
yeah, please keep us posted on how you think we're doing here. And then everybody else, please do that too. If you want to be like Matt, Mr. C, and you want to be one of the cool kids, please do. You can write. Yeah.
Right now, if he's seeing Krista Bell, I think he's Mr. Jackpots right now.
Nice.
That's pretty amazing.
Thank you, Mr. Jackpots. So if you want to be like Mr. C, and write to us here at ghostwoodpodcast@gmail.com. The Gmail. That's ghostwoodpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can reach us on the Twitter machine at ghostwoodcast, or on Facebook at Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks Podcast, where you can see the cool pictures Zan posted of her kitty in presumably the Pez Lodge.
The Pez Lodge, yeah. It's the Pez Lodge.
It's the Pez Lodge. And it's a very cool picture. And if you have any more, if you have your own kitty pictures on Chevron rugs, please post them as well.
Seriously, yeah.
That should be a thing, right?
I think so.
Yep. That's very cool. So yeah, please do that, and also please like us and follow us on Twitter and Facebook, because that helps grow the community. Because obviously, if we'd love to get more likes on Facebook, because apparently, if you get about 2,000, you can start giving top fan um, awards to people.
Oh, nice. You
So
guys,
I'd
come
like to,
on.
so yeah, I'd like to be able to do that because
Everybody wants to be a top fan.
who doesn't want to be a Ghostwood top fan, right? So
Well, you're all Ghostwood top fans, in
this
my
is true,
opinion.
but this would make it like
This would have
even
Facebook
more
official.
like super official. Yeah.
This would
So
make it Facebook official.
yeah. So Zan, how about you? How can they reach you on the interwebs?
I am on the Twitters and on the Instagrams at Udinax19.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook too, but I'm pretty boring in my real life,
You
so
are you are far from boring. You are the opposite of boring.
I'm pretty boring on the internet. So, but I do lurk around with photos of my cat and various shit posts on
Yes.
on our uh, on our Ghostwood Facebook page.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to be better about posting to Instagram and Twitter. I've been trying to be a little bit better about that. But what about you, Charles? Where can
Uh,
everybody find you?
Everybody, if you want to find me, you can reach me, of course, at Charles Skeggs on Twitter and at Charles Skeggs on Instagram, the Insta, or Facebook, Charles Skeggs in Hilliard, Ohio, and my blog, Geeky Things.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn good coffee and hot, where I talk about all the stuff we talk about here on Ghostwood, Twin Peaks, David Lynch, anything cool like comic books, sci-fi news. I just posted my big Avengers Endgame review.
Oh, very cool.
So
I will make sure I don't read that because I have yet to see Avengers Endgame.
much typing. Yeah, there is now. I do have spoiler warnings at the beginning of it, so try to keep people from getting spoiled.
Well, it was funny.
But for me, hashtag do spoil the end game.
I gotcha. Nice.
So
I was talking to my friend Tom the other night, and he started talking to me, and I recognized the names, and he's like, "Can you believe they did such and such with the such and such?" And I was like, "Do you think I've seen this movie?" And he's like, "You haven't?" I'm like, "No." And I honestly don't even remember what he said. I mean, he said some
well, that's
stuff,
good.
and I don't even remember what the words he used were because I had no context for it. So
And I'm proud to say that my bladder held out. I didn't have to like get up for a bathroom break in the middle of a 3-hour movie.
you guys don't drink a 64-ounce soda during the movie,
Right?
and you're gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
I got a kid-sized Coke to keep.
Seriously,
That's
get a
all
Dasani and nurse it through the
That's what I
movie,
did.
and you're gonna be fine.
That was my game plan, and it worked perfectly. Just get a
Or
little Coke. You're
eat
good.
some damn popcorn and soak up the liquid.
Yeah, it's fiber. It'll keep you from,
Yeah, seriously, it's not that it's. I mean, I've gone 16 hours without peeing before. You guys can see this movie. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So, Jesse, one of my other co-hosts on Podcast Land, he had to go during the middle of it, and I teased
I'm
him
sorry, Jeff.
relentlessly for it. Your puny bladder.
Your puny bladder. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's the thing.
But he is 10 years older than me, so I kind of let that slide a little bit.
All right. Okay. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
All
All right. So otherwise, on my blog of Geeky Things, Damn Good Coffee, talk about my other podcasts that I do for Southgate Media, including Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast that Zan was on.
I was on that, and it was so much fun.
And it was so much fun. We really had a good time, and I had a ball, and I want you back whenever I can.
Right.
You start thinking up more episodes because
okay, I will totally do that.
And that rare chance that you actually have an opening in your schedule. I want to take advantage.
I want one so bad.
Maybe by December, hopefully.
I want an opening so bad.
Yeah. So, check that out. Please check that out. And also check out Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. I do with Jesse Jackson, my Next Stop Everywhere co-host and occasional. And we talk about all things DC Universe, including Titans and Doom Patrol right now, which has been fantastic. And if you like weird stuff like David Lynch, Twin Peaks, Doom Patrol is totally up your alley, guys.
Nice.
It's like the superhero version of Twin Peaks. You got to check it out.
Oh, I like the description of that.
Yeah. So please check that out. And otherwise, come on back, because next time, what are we going to talk about, Zan? You got any thoughts about what you want to talk about next time?
We're going to finish up Windom Earle next time.
Okay, you want to start going on with episodes now?
No, not with episodes. I think we should just
Because
finish
the saga.
finish the saga and the
Okay.
log lady stealing Pete Martell's truck and just finish
Okay.
just round it out.
All right. So this will
Yeah.
be the final moves of
Here's
Windom
what
Earle.
here's what we should do,
Yeah.
Charles.
What? Okay. Tell me.
Let's round out the Windom Earle saga
Okay.
and do commentary on the final episode.
Okay. We can do that.
You like that idea?
I like that. We can do that.
All right.
Okay. So that would almost be. Well, that would probably need to be um, 2 episodes then.
Well, no, because I think we can just sort of talk about like,
You
probably
think
take
you think we get through because that final episode is like that was 2 hours, two part.
was it?
Well, there was 2 episodes back to back, wasn't it?
I'm talking like the final
The final
episode.
episode. Okay, so
Yeah.
beyond life and death.
Beyond Life and Death. Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
Just that one.
okay. Well,
Because um
all right.
I don't want to have to talk about new age jazz erotica. Okay.
Okay, that's fair. And then
I
you don't
want
want to talk about the Miss Twin Peaks contest and
I want to have to talk about that crap.
all right, okay, all right. We
I don't
can
want to have to talk about the Pine
Weasel
Weasel.
and Annie.
Well, that's the thing is we can spend a few minutes talking about
Okay,
how he ramps it up and
all right.
how and that like one of my all-time favorite Leo scenes,
Yeah.
and then we can go into the final episode and see how
And we could cheer that Leo gets a spider about to drop on him.
just Leo trying to thinking that the shock collar remote is like a
Yeah.
remote that works at your touch.
that was I love that moment.
That is classic. That is
Like
classic.
I'm going to I'll shock you now. Oh, and he shocks himself.
Yeah.
Bow, 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 bow. Mm.
So we
Yep.
can we can talk
All right,
about that.
okay, all right. So we'll do that. So we'll finish up the Windom Earle saga, and we will tack on Beyond Life and Death. So that sound good?
Yeah, because I think the hubris of Windom Earle thinking he can take on Bob
Right.
is definitely something I think we should discuss at length.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
can't have your soul. I
I
will
will
take
take
his. Yeah.
Yeah,
It says one creepy guy to another creepy guy.
and Bob just comes in. Windom Earle is in the lodge, and Bob just comes in. He's like, "Oh, hold my beer. All right,
Exactly.
let me just get rid of this little gnat that's in my way."
Exactly. It's
And
like
then he's gone.
amateur.
Amateur hour.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody, come on back. We'll finish up that, and we'll talk obviously more pop culture references and whatnot. And we'll see you next time right here on Twin Peaks. Ghostwood.
wait.
What? Oh,
Wait, before you go, Charles.
should we talk about someone?
I just want to remind everybody
Yes.
who is in the, I would say, 4-hour driving range of Columbus, Ohio,
Oh, right.
to check out the Studio 35 Cinema Draft House website for the director series, David Lynch series, because not only are Cheryl Lee and Ray Wise going to be here,
Mm-hmm.
but later in the year there's going to be an event, and Dana Ashbrook's going to be here.
How cool is that? We might actually get to
know.
see Bobby Briggs too on top of
Oh
it.
my gosh, I can't wait to see Bobby Briggs.
Have you seen him before anywhere?
Never.
Oh, this is a big
Yeah.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So, yeah, just make sure you're checking that site for those events because any Twin Peaks fan is going to want to come to that stuff. It's
Yeah.
going to be amazing.
yeah, enjoy those memories.
Bring it back some.
Brings back some memories.
And yeah, Bobby killed a guy. You guys. Let's just-
That's what we should do. If he goes there, we should just shout out, "Didn't you kill a guy?
yeah. Didn't you kill Mike? Isn't that Mike that you killed? Bobby?
How did you get your job?"
Oh my God, Charles! You know what we need to have him sign?
What?
A deflated football.
Nice. That
Because the
would,
football is empty.
yes.
I'm looking for Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm betting. I'm gonna bet that's probably not the first deflated football
Probably
he's signed.
not the first empty football he's ever
Yeah,
seen.
exactly. Yeah, the deflate gate ball. Yeah. So, all right. So, yeah, please check that out. And also, I want to give a special little shout out to Peter Mayhew,
Oh.
who died today.
What? I didn't hear this yet.
Sorry to break it to you, but yes, he died today. Well, actually,
Oh,
I take that back. He died 2 days ago, but they just announced it today.
oh my God.
So
This
obviously,
is
I'm a bit.
terrible.
Star Wars is my all-time favorite movie, you guys. The
Oh my
original
God.
Star Wars. So
Terrible.
this is a big deal for me, and
Well,
so I just want to kind of give a special shout. I know he has nothing. Peter Mayhew has nothing to do with Twin Peaks, but I just kind of wanted to kind of
oh my
acknowledge
God.
that before we sign off.
Yeah, would you like to hear my Peter Mayhew story?
Please do.
All right. Emerald City Con.
Yep.
It was the after show dinner, and it's about 30 of us. We're all at this restaurant. We're upstairs in a big private room, and it's all the guests, all the comic guests, and all the media guests are there. And Peter Mayhew is there with his wife. And one of the things on the menu is shepherd's pie, which is a delicious meal, if you
Right.
ask me. And I get the shepherd's pie, and I swear to God, Charles, it comes in like a pie pan, like it would serve like 4 people normally. This thing is huge.
Huge. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting at the table with my friend Renee, and in the chaos of all the people that are at this dinner, her order didn't get put in. And so everybody tastes my shepherd's pie. Renee is eating like half of it. I'm eating like half of it, and we don't finish it. Okay, there's some left over. This thing is huge.
Right.
As we're leaving, and I noticed that Peter Mayhew got the same dish. He got the same shepherd's pie. And as we're leaving, I see that he didn't finish his either.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted to say, look, if Chewbacca can't finish the meal,
Right.
it's too large.
Because he's always thinking with his stomach.
Always thinking with it. Great, Chewie. Always thinking with your stomach. Yeah, if it's too big for Peter Mayhew,
If it's too
he
big for
just
the if it's too big for the mighty Chewbacca.
mighty Chewunky Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Yes. So no, I had not heard this, and now I'm really sad. And
Yeah, I know. It's just like once again, we do this podcast, somebody dies, but it's horrible. But I did want to acknowledge it before we sign off. So
yes, I definitely think we should acknowledge it, especially since the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker
right.
trailer came out, and I scared the living shit out of my cats watching that because
Would you scream or
I screamed when I saw Lando. When I saw Lando, I
like
was like,
Billy D?
like, "Wah!"
Break out the Colt 45. Billy D. Williams is back as Lando.
Billy D is a gentleman and a class act,
Yeah.
and that man smells like $1,000,000. Let me tell you.
I'm gonna go see Billy D here on Saturday because I'm gonna go see Batman at during the Fathom events at Lenox. So
Oh, the retro.
Lori
Yeah,
and I, they're doing that for the
Fathom thing?
Batman's 80th anniversary thing. So yeah, they're doing that. They're airing
Oh, wow,
Batman on
okay.
Saturday, so we're going to the 4 p.m. show. So I'll get to
Billy D and his nest of vipers.
Love it. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
the very first movie Harvey Dent. So, um, yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Peter Mayhew. Obviously, thoughts and prayers to his family
to his family
and loved ones. I know Mark Hamill posted about it already on Twitter, and so very, very sad to lose another one. But
hmm
unfortunately, that's just a reminder that we're all getting older. So
this is true. And Peter Mayhew was in quite a bit of pain.
yeah,
He had
which
very debilitating physical issues.
yeah, which is obviously why Juna Suotamo took over as Chewbacca
Yes.
in the past couple of Star Wars movies, but
Mhm.
in this one, The Rise of Skywalker. But obviously, Peter Mayhew's obviously originated the role, and
Peter Mayhew is Chewbacca.
he's legend. He is. So yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Sorry to end it on downer, but hopefully we'll have some happier news to talk about next time.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Leo getting shocked with a shock collar. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
see,
excellent.
that should cheer everybody up.
That makes everybody happy.
That makes Leo getting shocked makes everybody happy. If Leo's shocked, everybody happy.
Everybody happy.
Everybody happy. So see, we'll have better times ahead, and we'll see you next time right here on Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast. Bye, everybody.